Hey, I'm Matt Manny. Thanks so much for joining me for today's devotional thought. Today we're talking about the surest or flattest place on earth. It's been said that the strongest step is a sturdy step, that the surest step is one that's set on solid ground. To find the most solid ground, the flattest place on earth is where we're going to have to look. And we'll actually have to jump on a plane and head to South America, to Bolivia's Solaire de Uni, which is a massive salt lake nearly the size of the state of Connecticut. Some might wonder what's so amazing about a giant dried up lake. Well, this 4,000 square mile dry lake contains over 10 billion tons of salt, amazingly enough. The location is a perfect site for actually scientists to calibrate their satellites because of the high altitude and the reflection of the sunlight, and most important, there's a minimal variation in altitude, making it 5 times better to use as a standard of calibration than even the Earth's ocean. For the entire lake, there are less than a meter in variation in altitude. And it may not sound like a big deal, but a meter of difference from one end of the lake to another end of the lake is pretty important when you're trying to calibrate something as special as a satellite. When we think about the hills and valleys of life, the Solaire de Uni, there's only millimeters in height in difference. The location is a sought-after tourist destination for its breathtaking expanse. And during the rainy season, instead of water draining into the earth, the water creates this thin film across the lake that looks like a beautiful, amazing mirror reflection, if you will. The most eye-popping photographs have been taken in this place. But what if God leveled out the ground in our lives before you and before me to minimize the mountains, the hills, and the valleys of life? Every circumstance you simply took in stride with no worry to your next step because it was a sure and steady step. The smaller we are in life, the greater the mountains and valleys of circumstances become. We long for the highest of highs, and we seek after pleasures and achievements and satisfaction, and we attempt to avoid and to mitigate and to dodge the lowest of the lows, the valleys of life, because we don't like pain. But imagine this. Think of what the Solaire de Uni, the mountains and valleys, are to an ant. They are huge obstacles to overcome and depths to traverse. But for the human walking across the salt flats, there's nothing to it at all. The ground is completely flat. The difference for the human and the ant is a matter of size, of perspective. The longer you walk with God, the larger you grow in your faith and trust, and the smaller the mountains and the valleys of difference in life become. And we begin to steady out our dependence on God. Instead of being swayed to and fro by the highs and lows of life, we simply walk with God. We trust God. We can still recover because the place God brought us to, in our view of Him and in our view of life, it's all about a change of perspective. We can depend upon God. Life confuses us, but God is the one who gives us steady direction and steps. Today's thought, to read more about it, is taken from Psalm 37, verses 23 and 24. Thanks so much for watching.